What is something we all want more of? Many of us think we don't get enough of. We're trying to control it, but most of the time, it controls us. It's not money. No, it's not that either. I know what you were thinking. It's time. Time is the new currency today. Time is precious. Time is sacred. And I think it's safe to say that time is something we're all trying to figure out how to make it matter more, how to make it last, and how to spend it better, right? Now, our relationship with time is rather complicated. When we're waiting for something to happen, it goes super fast. In our technology-driven world, we're trying to hack time. We're trying to overcome time. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, and we cannot buy more time. But we can use self-care to get more time and spend it better. Some years ago, I was working with a CEO and partner in a large development company. He was at a crossroad because his business was thriving, but he was not. Actually, he was barely surviving. He was burned out, stressed, and tired all the time. He was at least 100 pounds overweight because he wouldn't stop for a proper meal all day, and to calm down at night, he would pour himself a couple of drinks and sit down at the table to overeat. Even his weekends were spent working instead of being with his family. I'm sure you can imagine how he felt. He wanted out. All he wanted to do was leave his business and retire. Except it was not an option right now. He consistently put work before himself, and his health was now paying for it. He knew he needed to make changes because even his medication couldn't keep him going for much longer. But he didn't think he could take the time. So I asked him to please reconsider his priorities and his boundaries, because as far as I could see, he was running out of time. Because without drastic changes, his doctor's warning of a heart attack could end up becoming his exit strategy. Under stress, we focus on what's urgent rather than what's important. And we're driven by instinct rather than inspiration. It's not the amount of time we put in, it's the quality of the time we put in that makes a difference. The key to our human performance and longevity is our inner fuel. Just like a race car needs optimum fuel and care to perform at its best, so do we. Just ask Abilio. He eats healthy, he lives healthy, he thrives at 81 years old. Maybe he thinks of his body as a race car and self-care as his fuel. Who knows? I learned the power of self-care after both my parents died of cancer just about a year apart. At the time, I was turning 40 years old. And my doctors told me it was no longer a matter of if, it was now a matter of when I was going to get cancer too. I decided I wanted to learn what my body needed so I could fight the disease. I wanted to take charge of my health. I wanted to change my verdict. I wanted to make sure that my genes did not become my destiny. But where do we even begin? We have so much information, but too little wisdom about how to take better care of ourselves. One study tells us to grace. The next tells us to fast. Then, we're not supposed to eat any fat. No, wait. We're supposed to eat more fat. Then, we're supposed to be paleo. No, wait. We're supposed to be more plant-based, maybe even vegan. It's confusing because we think there's supposed to be one answer to our health and our longevity. But we're each individual beings. And how we eat doesn't have to have a name, but it does have to work for each and every single one of our bodies. So how can we use science to learn how to take better care of ourselves? Well, consider this. Science is a process of observing the relationship between phenomena and recording the data. So in the same way, we can learn about ourselves too, by noticing and discovering the relationship between what we eat, what we think, what we do, and how it makes us feel. But let's be honest. When did you last take the time to have a good chat with your own body? I mean a really good chat, the kind where you ask, how are you? What do you need? See, our bodies know what that is, and we can learn how to listen. But there's no app for that. What we have to do is learn to pause, listen, and notice what comes up in here in the core of our bodies when we ask, how am I today? How do I feel? And what do I need so that I can be at my best? Can you imagine what would change if we started every single day that way? It is how we can fine-tune our inner fuel so that we can thrive. The other day, I was in the subway in New York City. And I look over, and a man in his mid-60s is about to sit down on the floor. And I'm wondering, what does a man in his mid-60s doing sitting down on the floor in the middle of a New York City subway in rush hour? And I realize it's because he's about to faint. His face is completely white. His lips have no color, and his forehead is sweaty. He's holding his chest, and he says, I'm not feeling so good. Something's wrong. I think I need to get to a hospital. As we gather around him, he's sort of fading in and out of being alert and feeling conscious. We wonder if he is. And a man tucks at his shoulder and gives him a bottle of water to drink. And he's sipping the water. Little by little, he's becoming more and more alert, and he gets up. His face is no longer white, his forehead is no longer sweaty, color's back in his lips. And he says, oh my God, I feel so much better, thank you. All I needed was water. Taking better care of ourselves is so simple and so basic that we tend to forget to do it. Or we disregard how important it is when we're busy. We need 3 things for our basic survival: food, water, and rest. Actually, water comes first. Water, food, rest. And it's the first 3 things that we neglect when we're busy, isn't it? Something urgent comes along, and we drop ourselves like a hot potato and forget that we need these bodies to do all those urgent, busy things. Water is our first, most essential source of life. Our trillions of cells need water, especially as we age. Dehydration can cause some of the most basic problems that we struggle with every single day. Lack of energy, lack of clarity and focus, aches and pains in our bodies, headaches, migraines, fatigue, even sugar cravings and false hunger, anxiety. Even impatience and anger can be because of dehydration. In fact, a study in a prison showed that when inmates were drinking more water, aggression went down. And in a school, when kids were drinking more water instead of sugary iced tea, teamwork went up. So in the break, I invite you to pause and drink some water, slowly. Actually, I want you to chew it. Yes, chew your water. I know it sounds strange, but it goes like this. What happens when you chew your water is that it warms up. And you're not gulping it down, which gives you that water bloat that people tell me is the reason why they're not drinking enough water. But we also need to practice chewing. Chewing is essential for releasing saliva that helps us absorb the nutrients and the hydration that we need. It also stimulates blood flow so we feel more alert. And chewing is also essential for our digestion. So for your meals, that means put the fork down. Put the fork down between every single bite and chew. Chew until your food becomes liquid in your mouth. I know you're thinking, I'm going to get bored. Food is our second most important fuel of life. It is how we get the nutrients and the energy that we need every single day to get through. And it's also our tool for crafting our daily emotional well-being and our medicine for taking charge of our health. 10 years ago, a woman came to see me because she had chronic sinus infections and high blood pressure. And her doctor told her that he couldn't help her and she had to be on medication for the rest of her life because of her genes. Like me, she was not going to accept that. So, luckily today, because of research in epigenetics, we know that our genes do not have to become our destiny. And that's why self-care matters so much. So this is how we turned her health around. First, we took out all junk food, processed food, cookies, candy, anything that caused sugar and toxins in her body, and also dairy that caused mucus. And then we added more fiber from cooked whole grains, vegetables, and legumes to give her more sustainable energy all day long and also give her better mood and higher well-being. Next, we added beautiful green vegetables and lush leafy greens. It helps heighten the energy and vitality in our bodies and lower inflammation. And it supports the body's natural detoxification. You can think of inflammation as rust on a pipe. It makes it wear out faster, and it does the same to your bodies. Lowering inflammation is essential for health and longevity. Next, we added more plant-based fat, high in omega-3 fatty acids, which also would help lower inflammation. And we added more lean protein from legumes and fish and quinoa. Now, these three core changes support methylation. Methylation is essential for us to support health and longevity. You can think of methylation as the way that we optimize our body's ability to cell renew, which is what the body does for a living, basically. But the cell renewal and DNA repair, that is how we optimize our longevity. Additionally, this way of eating also helped her feel full and satisfied for longer, so that she would avoid mindless snacking between meals and instead fast between meals, which helps lower insulin levels, which is another key factor that is essential for our health and longevity. And lastly, we put more mindfulness to her emotional and mental stressors. We also helped her be more aware of all her inner fuel choices. Today, at 76 years old, she walks a mile every day. She does yoga and Pilates every week. She cooks wholesome meals for herself and her friends. She's active and engaged in her community. She's in a good relationship with her own body. She feels flexible. She's fit. She's active. Her mind is sharp. Her energy is strong. Her body is healthy. And she's not on one single medication. Not one. The third, very, very important, is rest. We need our rest. You may not care about your beauty sleep, but I'm asking you to care about your longevity and performance sleep. That means 7 to 8 hours on a regular basis, not just on weekends. We also need to schedule in pauses and rest during the day. Our bodies simply cannot keep up. Even though our devices and our lights are on 24/7, we need downtime. Our nervous system needs downtime to restore and reset. So try to create a rhythm where you have 45 to 90 minute focused attention at a time and 5 to 15 minutes off. Guess what? Your water breaks and your meal times are perfect for that. And with those new habits, you may just be the one who has an extra spurt of energy in the afternoon because you gave your body the downtime and it fuel that it needed. When time is of the essence, we tend to leap for success without taking care of the foundation that's going to get us there and keep us there, our very own bodies. So let me give you a model for how to implement this into your daily life. Think, engage, act. Think is when we pause for a moment and bring mindfulness to how we feel at a given time. For example, you may feel tired. Act is the choices we have for fuel. So in functional medicine, instead of looking at the symptom, feeling tired, we look at the root cause of the problem, lack of energy. So the liver is a major player in our daily energy metabolism. It gets really sluggish and overworked from sugar, but it thrives and gets energy and vitality from lush leafy greens and green vegetables. Note to self, remember that. Act is whether we're choosing mindfully or falling prey to mindless habits. Now, if we don't pay attention, we automatically focus on what we don't want, what's not working. Feeling tired. That makes us choose foods that are stimulating, easy, quick fixes like sugar and coffee. However, when we choose based on how we want to feel, full of energy, vitality, ready for the task at hand, when we are mindful, do you think that you might choose differently now? Of course, we can also choose a nap. Research has shown that just a 10-minute nap can give you just as much energy as a cup of coffee. Every day, we have choices to make. Every day, we can choose self-care. Every day, several times a day, you can choose to take care of your body so that it can take care of you. Self-care doesn't take time away from us. It gives us time back. For 5 months, I sat with my dad, waiting with him to die. We didn't talk about the money he made, the success he had. We talked about the memories we shared, the people we had shared time with, the places we had seen together. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. But it was also the most beautiful and the most important thing I've ever done in my life. Because I learned that health is the new currency. Health is just as precious and just as sacred as time. And I learned that instead of focusing on what's important, instead of focusing on what's urgent, to focus on what's important. Instead of living in fear of disease, I learned to live in awareness. What will be your why for taking charge of your health today and for going forward? Will it be something that you're learning while sitting on the floor somewhere thinking you're going to have a heart attack? Or a diagnosis the doctor gives you that could be your exit strategy? Or will it be because you want to live a long, healthy life full of energy and vitality? Remember, fear is not a sustainable motivator. Desire is. Focus on what you want. It's like driving a motorcycle. If you want to avoid the pothole, don't look at it. Look at where you want to go, and your choices will align with that. Focus on what you want. What will you choose? Will you choose to be a team with your very own body? Will you choose to take care of your amazing body that's carrying you around every single day, to be the guardian? Remember, what we're doing for longevity is what we do today and every day. So I'm asking you, what would you choose? And if not now, then when? Thank you. Obrigada.